Hi guys, FrostFangs here, back again, of course, with another Paladins video. Paladins video that I'm actually kind of excited to bring you today because Grok got buffed in this update, depending on how you play him. 2 out of the 3 I think are about the same, but the one I'm going to be showing you today is much better. I went much more in depth in yesterday's video, the Pip one, about the whole curative remedy surgery thing that they implemented for 4 of the characters. Grok is one of them, but if you play him with Totemic Ward or Maelstrom, he feels about the same, not really any difference there, because they nerfed his base kit, his damage is down a bit, his totem heal is down a bit, which you don't really care about with Spirit's Domain, but for the other 2, it sort of makes up for the new system, whereas this one just got a straight 20% buff, and you now heal for way more over the course of a game, like 96 a tick. It's kind of crazy. And yeah, I have a bunch of builds here for him, but I'm really only going to be focusing on these 2. The Q sort of one I've shown you before with the totems, and the damage one is the same as it's been for ages, but I have 2 versions for Spirit's Domain, one where you get Death Hands and one where you don't, depending on if you want an item slot or a loadout slot, pretty much. If you don't want to have to buy Death Hands, you want to get all your items, you sort of want to play like normal, this is just generally the one I would recommend as well. Extra ammo, bunch of cards in here that are really strong. Follows a very similar thing to Damage Grok, just switched around a little bit. They all follow a very similar formula, which you can kind of see here. But then, if you do want to get it, I have a version of it here, which is a bit closer to the F setup because it gives you a bit more freedom. We don't have to run as much stuff buffing your ammo. The regen isn't really worth running. I forgot to mention this. This card is kind of just useless. The way it works at the moment, it doesn't really feel like it makes that much of a difference. Do to mess around with it quite a bit, it just really isn't worth running. You either want the extra ammo, reset on the right click a little bit and not Death Hands, or you want to grab Death Hands and play closer to sort of the totem setup. I feel like I must have said this in the last Grok video, but that was already probably quite a while ago. Where are his skins? Grok hasn't had a skin in forever. He kind of has one, the Neon Demon one. The other one is kind of like a shiny recolor. So please, more Grok skins. Am I the only one here who wants one? To be honest, there's so much stuff they could do with him, and yet he hasn't really had any. He probably has quite a low play rate because I don't see him very often, but let's grab Spirit's Domain and then the setup here, just the standard one. With Nyx here, we should be able to heal. So we've got Fiery, Shove, Force, Exaction, Dark, Gifts, Pyromania, Cardio, Focusing Lens, Fiery, and Godslayer. The other thing to mention with this is if you don't go for the one that's Death Hands focused, you kind of have the same power level throughout most of the game. You get a bit more Chronos, maybe a bit more ult gen, but you're essentially the same sort of healing effectiveness because of the way you're sort of based around your meter, which you're already like buffing a ton just from your kit. Don't know how I'm not dead here, playing really kind of risky. I'm just trying to heal the Nyx up. To be honest, you can sort of see how fast that tick is. I should be using my kit a little bit better here, but not really able to break through on the point, it seems. There's some heals to Betty. Andro just gone. You can obviously still deal a lot of damage with this, even if you are healer focused. We just kept Betty up through the insane amount of damage she just took there. Let's get rid of the Ying. You still have, like I said, yeah, again, a lot of output on this if you're focusing one person, though I do see a lot of people not really play him that way and try and like spray around instead of just like melting one person because your damage does get higher. I still want them to do something where your healing increases the longer you're linked to somebody. I said that in the last video for sure. I feel like it would make him feel a lot more sort of linked with your playing like as a damage or as a healer. I don't feel like I did a very good job there at all of explaining what I meant, but I've said it in other videos, so I don't really need to repeat myself here. We'll throw that over there. We'll throw a Q up. I'm just going to go push the point, just keep Corvus up, more heals on him, let him do the damage, because I think our healing output here is probably better than damage if I'm just focusing on this sort of setup. There's the F. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of damage. Corvus with the heals though, props to him, and he's doing work. Heals on the Nyx, we're getting kind of battered here. I do have the ult up, do I go for it? I don't know, it's a Amani right click, Q, F, dodge the Victor. I guess we go for the ult, right? We throw the Q and then pop it and maybe push in here. Seems like the team's kind of grouped up, but no one's really making the first move. Try and move kind of crazy, but I'm not the best with Grok ult. I don't really know the proper sort of flow for it, although, like I said, though, a good Grok versus an average Grok, there is a massive difference, more so than you would expect. We're on 20 health here, eventually dead. I feel like they're just in every single angle ever blasting damage from their team comp. It's kind of realistic. Drop the double Q down there for the Nyx, get some more heals on. I really thought we'd be able to hold the objective a little bit more here. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of healing at the end of this, but not as much as I should, because Nyx, I think, is having a bit of a hard time sort of sticking on the point and not just dying when she's getting blasted. Damage on the Andro a little bit, sort of switch around a bit. Do a bit of a hybrid thing for a minute. Definitely a bit of a learning curve with this, of learning when to switch from damage to like healing and stuff. Or I guess the other way around. We're just going to run here from the Amani Dragon. Try and maybe get rid of the Ying if we can just blast her down. There we go, it's the F. I'm just dead, right? There's no situation where I live here. Did spawn pretty much on the point. We'll just retreat a little bit here. Nyx can push up and be a bit of a front girl here for a minute. We'll get some heals on him. That is a Cassie on no health. Just about died there to the Angel. We'll duel him. I think we can get rid of him. I don't need to really let go of left because we can just blast. We've got so much ammo. I don't know why no one's playing the objective though. That is Betty going around. What an explosion. There's the F. I'm in a really, really crappy spot. Trying to get around the corner. I'm actually just about up. Dodge the Betty explosions. I'm probably still dead. Jesus Christ, the amount of damage Betty can just throw out. Dead there again to the Betty. I definitely feel like damage is the issue here though, because I think me and Corvus are actually putting in work with the heals. We'll throw 2 totems over there for the Nyx, she's going for the ult. That's a pretty big stun. We'll get rid of Betty on the Andrew here. We'll get rid of both. There we go. Surprised that he's running from a Grok who's playing a heal setup. We'll get rid of the Ying. Sure, again, trying to focus on the damage a little bit when it makes sense. Technically, you are actually stronger than before, even after the nerf to the totem, because you've got 20% extra healing, which makes up for the amount they reduced it by. But the totem just in general doesn't feel like you're healing for that much if you don't go for the taunt. We'll just blast through the Amani. There we go. I guess we've shifted to damage Grok for a second to get that double heal from the totems. I will say that the one problem with this build, and you kind of help yourself a little bit with Chronos, is that you don't really have self-healing. The only self-healing you have is from your totem, and that isn't really giving you that much. We're just going to try and blast through the Amani Dragon, pop the F for the last second there. It is really low. We'll get some heals on Corvus, throw another totem there, self-heal up a little bit. But the self-heal with a double totem is still kind of slow. Burst through the Ying, right-click on the Betty, drop a Q down here, heal him up. He's going for the ult. You can sort of see here, even with Cauterize, that eel is pretty quick. Eel, I just said, instead of heal. That's a new one. Definitely been a bit of a tough one, especially with the Betty. She's just been outputting so much damage with like such little effort. She's kind of just throwing her Q on the point, which is a good thing, because a lot of Bettys don't really do that right. And then she's just letting sort of the rest happen on its own. We'll get rid of her here. I think she's going to have an insane amount by the end of this game, but I suppose we'll see. Drop a Q down. It does go through the ceiling a little bit, but everyone's on the bottom anyway. Just wish we had a bit of a better team here for the damage. I think that's where we're lacking. We'll drop a Q. There goes Andro. Pop the F. Just, yeah, sure, use all your charges, Aubrey. I love doing that with Grok. We'll go for you. It feels horrible going against it, but popping that play there is kind of satisfying. We'll just get rid of the Ying. Yeah, sure. Drop a Q. Maybe get rid of the Betty. She's going to go for her ult here. That's fine. Pop the F. I guess we dodged the Amani thing. Trying to finish her off here. Playing as a bit of a damage, and now we'll have to retreat. Try and heal the Nyx before we get killed here. Don't know where my Q went. Alright, just going to keep healing her up. Honestly, I was kind of on autopilot there because I just assumed that play was over like a whole minute before it actually was. We'll get more veteran, sure. I feel like I actually need the health here. Very rarely do I feel like I'm just losing my 2.5k so quickly, but right now with that Betty into the team comp, it is rough, man. You can see here we're just getting us so much heals, but it's not adding up. Probably won't come across in the video. This has been so substantially buffed just because of the fact that it's not looking like we're healing for that much, but it's just because there's so much Cauterize everywhere from that Betty. You might be able to see when I'm on the point here how much damage there is. Andrew has also been ult-genning like a crazy amount. I don't know why he's had like 6 ults off so far. 2 pushed up there. I use my totem just to try and help him out. The speed buff on it is also kind of nice, but we just don't have self-heal if I throw the totems like that. There's the F. Oh my god, I'm dead. Maybe we can get rid of Betty. Just take her out with us. Pop the F. Wiggle forward a bit. Push in on him maybe. Get rid of the Amani. There we go. Q down. Heals on him. Dead. We're actually going to have a decent amount of damage here too alongside the healing because I've actually been playing a bit more of a hybrid than usual. Corvus there going for the ult. Overall, it's actually been a pretty good game. We're only 60 behind. I feel like we could have definitely won this if we just played a little bit better. I think Cassie might be a weak link and maybe the Betty. I don't know. Their Betty's definitely doing better than our one, but I'm not sure where the problem is right now. We're going to go for the ult. Don't know if that was a really dark time to pop it, but yeah, we'll just push in here. I think that actually worked out very, very well. We can maybe chase down Betty too. The speed, try and blast her a little bit, hitting her for like nothing at this range. I don't know if I should push it. Yeah, I guess I'm going to go for it. Hello, Betty. Yeah, there we go. That worked. That was a pretty down play, but it somehow functioned to tap the Andrew a little bit here. I'm very, very out of place from the rest of the team. We're going to F here to heal up a little bit. Drop a Q down. More shots on him. Oh, that's just like everybody all of a sudden. Okay. Yeah, the point's in the middle now. Although a bit of a messier one than I feel like I usually get with this. I'm quite happy with the result. 18,745k, 115k pretty much. I'm really quite happy with that. Damage-wise, we did fine. Pretty much on par with Betty and over the Cassie, which were the weak links. I kind of guessed Corvus was doing his job. We were healing, sort of hybriding there as well. Nyx did fine. Overall, a very solid game there on their side. You can sort of see the stats speak for themselves. Andro shredding, Betty shredding, Amani kind of doing something, although I expected to have way more from that just from the Dragon. The Dragon felt very oppressive there. But for the second one, we got an onslaught primal court situation where I'd usually go for the totem because over the map, it's kind of hard to maintain line of sight and you're better off with that sort of radius, just massive heal. But for the sake of the video, we're going to stick to Spirit's Domain and go for the same setup and hopefully not do too bad. We've got Chronos and Nimble again to start. I always go for that, unless of course I'm going for the Death Hands thing. But we've got Fiery, Subjugation, Godslayer, Booby Trap, Rogue Scam, Enveloping, Soul Collector, Unauthorized Use, and Wormhole. We're going to be flanked, hopefully, not too much. Definitely a difficult situation for this setup, and one, like I said at the start, I would usually go for the totem thing just because you get the Ghost Walk up a little bit more often. You get that Q speed buff a little bit better, and just the map plays into it way more. But if we are focusing just one person, like here with the Nyx, we're going to heal for a hell of a lot more and probably end up with a better stat, but just probably a little bit less effective over the course of the game. It does really depend there. We'll see how this plays out. Healing the Andro here. I feel like I'm getting pressured a lot in this one. There's heals for the Vivian. The totems still do a hell of a lot in this, but just significantly less, obviously, than if you go for the full setup. Heals here on Betty and the Andro. I feel like I'm actually quite easily here keeping everybody full health, especially these little small health little damages over here at the back. There's heals for Andro. Did eventually there, run out of meter. That's the F to dodge the Vadu. Nyx is finally back. Heals on her here. She doesn't even have to go back into spawn because we can just kind of sit here and heal her for free. I guess we can grab some more Chronos. Yeah, this has been a bit of a showcase for Nyx, to be honest, just because she's a bit of a tough character to play as a solo tank, especially with a Grok. I feel like they don't really synergize that well. We'll go for the ult to save these two guys. After playing in this one for a minute, I actually feel like this sort of setup was the better option, just because we're not really playing like a team. Everyone's just doing their own thing. No one's really grouped enough for the totem setup to have really benefited. There doesn't really seem to be any sort of order. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. Try and help the Vivian out here a little bit. The annoying thing is that you can get blocked by a teammate and kind of get griefed if they're like also trying to help someone out and you're just behind them by like a little bit there with the Nyx. This definitely does feel a lot more different than just going for the totem setup for Grok, because the totem one does feel just like this, but you're putting down more totems, whereas this is completely changing the way you can actually use some of his kit, which is what I like more. With Talents, she's gone. We're going to F. Definitely a weird game, to say the least. Andrew's going for the ult here on the floor. We'll get some heals on him. Yeah, I don't know what else I could say. Vadu ulted and finished a little bit early there. Go the Q forward to help out the Nyx. That range 15% makes honestly a really big difference. Get some heals on Betty. She's still up. Strix blind. Drop the F. Dodge the Maeve. Drop down. Do we go for the ult here? Probably, right? Yeah, why not? There's no reason to say it. We've got morale boost too. Might as well just pop it whenever we got it up. So it's with the ult. Going to spam the F here to get out of it. There we go. Strix pistoling for some reason. Heals here on the Nyx. We should be able to push through and get rid of him, right? Yeah, there we go. He's totally out. Strix, I think, is the person on their side doing the most damage right now, but the flankers are going in like a hell of a lot, to be honest. But our team is so split up and so unpredictable right now, just because everyone's playing so messy, that the flankers aren't really working out that well on their side, because everyone on our side is just, yeah, randomly grouped or not grouped. There's no real order to anything that's happening. She's going for the ult. We're out of it. Don't know if Nyx just ulted there, but you can sort of see that crazy heal tick we're hitting her with. And how I didn't die there. Andrew's gone. Heals on the Nyx. I don't think she's really outputting anything here. I usually do quite well with Nyx on damage, but I've definitely seen overall people struggle quite a bit with her. Gonna just sort of rope these guys around. They didn't even push me. Okay, I guess we'll jump on top, heal the Vivian. There we go. Feel like healing her is better off than me trying to damage him, just because her output's way more, just because everybody's repositioning so often. The totems wouldn't get it. I'm having to heal from my lightning staff way more than the totems could possibly cover, so yeah, this has worked out surprisingly well for a showcase on the goddamn map. Again, just because of the teams and everything being the way it is right now. Heals on the Nyx. She's back up to full. Strix dropping down. We'll just melt him. This is a very weird Paladins game, but it is 2 AM, so I suppose it's to be expected. These matches tend to happen later I play. Heals here on Vivian. She's out. Getting Nyx back up to full again. Just look at that green number there. Eventually dead. So getting hit by everybody. You're still pretty tanky with this, even though you're not focusing on the Ghost Walk that much. Definitely nowhere near like one of the tankiest healers, but getting that sort of out of jail free card on your F makes a huge difference. Just, yeah, we can pop it whenever we're like in danger and we're out for like 2 seconds and can move over to where we need to be. Feels like such a scuffed game right now. My commentary is not covering it. We'll get some heals on Betty. Drop a Q down here. Heals on Andro. Nyx is finally running back in. We've got another ultimate, but the game is over. Had like a 100-point lead. I think if they had a tank, it would be much more even. Their team comp just didn't work because of how messy our match was. Shoutouts to the teams, as scuffed as that was there. That was, yeah, pretty good set of games actually for Switch Domain and Grok setup. I didn't expect those to go so well, but yeah, 100k plus on each of them. I'll take it. Those of you guys that play a lot of Grok, hopefully you're happy about this one. Doesn't really make that much of a difference, like I said, for Totemic Water Maelstrom, but Spirit's Domain is much better than the other two, end up being about the same. And Spirit's Domain now is maybe a little bit too good, and I'm surprised they actually end up kind of buffing it by this much. Don't have anything else to really add here, other than hopefully we get more Grok skins, because he kind of only has Brimstone, Neon Demon. Both of those don't really change him an insane amount, and then Chieftain, which is also a proper skin that I just completely forgot existed, because I feel like I've only ever seen this like a handful of times at max. Didn't really like this one originally, but it's definitely grown on me. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Of course, let me know what you want to see me next. I'll see you guys all really, really soon, and as always, stay frosty.